And welcome into Genesis Place, where the Calgary Shamrocks and the Mountain View Mavericks are set to collide. The Mavericks come in at 2-0, while the Shamrocks roll in at 1-1. The two teams did meet this season once. It was the Shamrocks blasting the Mavericks 18-7. But one has to think that this Mavericks team is much different than it was a couple months ago. The healthy scratch is here tonight for the Mavericks. Number 18, Drake May. Number 19, Riley Banco. Number 20, Kai Kloss. Number 23, Noah Perez. And number 83, Grayson Adminson. And for the Shamrocks, number 5, Soren Nigrin. Number 12, Wilson Ingalls. Number 20, Jack McCaig. Number 22, Jacob Armstrong. And number 28, Dryden Lee. In net for the Shamrocks, it'll be the big man, Josh Pilsner, and in the other end, it'll be Swan. As the ball gets moved out in front, it's going to be Dobbin over to Fletcher. Fletcher winds and fires, and that's stopped by Swan. Swan's going to pick that up, and the Mavericks will transition out. Mavericks wearing their road whites, moving left to right on your screen, while the Shamrocks wearing their home greens will be moving right to left. That shot bounces off the floor up into the netting. It'll be Shamrock ball. As the Shamrocks come away with it. Out in front, Gorst, and he scores. Aiden Gorst, the captain, leading by example early, 43 seconds in, gives the Shamrocks the opening goal. And you had to think after the Shamrocks dropped one to the Blizzard this morning, they'd come out motivated and ready to go here, and it looks like they are getting up to an early lead. The Mavericks, not a team that goes quietly into the night, though. You can expect them to push back as this game goes along. And here is Muratori, a guy that I've been incredibly impressed with watching him play. He's super graceful, very skilled, and can fly. Ball is swung over to the right side. Sutherland, as he was falling, took a little bit of a sidearm shot, missed the net, and here go the Rocks. Ball is transition up. Johnston tried to hit a trailer there. That was Ferrati. Ball goes loose. It's picked up by the Mavericks. And the stick right now of Myris. Now the ball moves up higher to Gardner. Ball right side now. Banco with the shot, stopped by Pilsner. A hard check into the end boards, but the Shamrocks end up with the ball, but then the ball gets stripped and it's going to roll back over center. Loose ball and battle ensues in front of the Maverick bench. And the ball gets knocked back and saved. Well, they are going to say over and back. The Shamrock bench not happy with that because they felt that the Mavericks knocked that back. But it'll be Maverick ball. Ball over to Sutherland. Sutherland winds and fires. That misses the net. And it's going to be grabbed by the Shamrocks. Transitioning out, but a yard sale there of Whitmore. And here go the Mavericks. Going to be an outside rip there, and that's off the bar by Muratori. Hard shot there. Here's Fancy, another guy that's impressed me in this tournament. Really good hands on the lefty. He circles back, gets checked, and he swings it. Hildebrandt, he misses the net. And it'll be over and back, and it'll be Calgary ball. 3 minutes into this one. The Rocks with the early 1-0 lead. In a pretty jam-packed Genesis Place here tonight in game number 6 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Here's Miller. Ball swings into the stick of Auger. Now over to Anderson. Anderson winds and fires, and a shoulder save there by Swan, who's been terrific in this tournament to date. Made countless big saves as the Silvertips had extended man advantages in that third period to hold them off this morning in what was a 9-8 win. It was a devastating loss for the Silvertips as they find themselves 0-2 and needing a lot of help and a couple of wins to close out the round robin to have a chance. Here's Pilsner after the save, is going to outlet. Ball goes to Fletcher, eventually over center. Fletcher goes around one, can't make it around the second, and he peels back out. Fletcher, right side. Fletcher to Kleisinger. Kleisinger to the net. Got cut off there. Good slide there by a second Maverick defender. That was Hildebrandt. And now Kleisinger gets pushed in. It'll be Maverick ball. And here go Mountain View up the floor. Ball into the stick of Sutherland. Both he and Hildebrandt probably the two sharpest shooters on this Maverick team. As Banco tried to work his way out in front, he loses it. And now it's picked up by Paintshow. Paintshow has two Shamrocks all over him. And they're gonna signal the shot clock violation, and Calgary will transition out. Here is Siege. Siege to the net. Siege and got cut off by a couple of Maverick defenders, and loose ball was picked up, but it went off a body and in behind the net. Now in the corner, the Mavs are gonna grab the loose ball. Something that they excel at, loose balls and transition. Hildebrandt up the floor. He gets it over, and now the ball sits on the right side. And that's Bauming with it. He gets it over back up to Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt across the top. Hildebrandt, and that's stopped by Pilsner. Now the ball is picked up by Isaacs. And he gets it up to Highcamp. Highcamp is going to test his defender a little bit. Now he rolls out. And Highcamp defers to Ferrati, who swings it to Fletcher. Fletcher over to Dobbin. Dobbin, backdoor, and OJ was jammed up with that pass. Couldn't get much on it, and the Mavericks come back out. 14 minutes to go here, first period. And the Shamrocks with the early 1-0 lead. Want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe to be notified every time a game goes live. Ball up high now on the left wall. Ball swings. Sutherland steps in, shoots that. Pilsner with a low save. And here go the Shamrocks. Whitmore's got numbers. He's got Miller and Gorst with him. Or Dwyer, excuse me, as the ball goes loose now. Picked back up, and that is into the stick of Swan. Myris. Over to Fancy. As Hildebrandt's going to slow this down. I want to thank City of Fort Saskatchewan. Explore Fort Saskatchewan, discover a place where family fun meets opportunity. Visit their downtown parks in River Valley. Work in a thriving community. Play where every moment is memorable. Visit, work, and play in Fort Saskatchewan. Ball up floor. Transition look and stopped by Swan. That was Seaborn in transition. Or they say it missed the net because it's a Maverick ball. As the Mavericks playing a lot more methodical here tonight. Both teams having played earlier in the day. The Shamrocks played at the ridiculous hour of 9 a.m. They lost to the Blizzard 10-6. And then just a couple hours later, the Mavericks, who now have a 2-on-1, and that's stopped by Pilsner. Rebound goes wide. And then it was the Mavericks a couple hours later defeating the Silvertips in a barn burner 9-8 to go up to 2-0. In a loss that dropped the Silvertips down to 0-2, as I mentioned earlier. Ball up high. It is flipped into the stick of Fletcher, the South leading scorer. Very dangerous on the inside. Very good at quick sticking and getting in on top of the crease as Dobbin gets it up top, and that shot is fired at Swan by Ferrati. Mavericks come back up the floor. Gardner dancing around a little bit, gets it up high. Lodermeyer, or Fancy, excuse me. That shot comes in from Bauming, and that's stopped. Long lead feed with a lot of air on it to Highcamp. And he's going to be surrounded by Mavericks here. Shamrocks need to get some guys on the floor. They do so now. Highcamp hits the trailer. Off the bench, Siege rips that at the feet of Swan. And I noticed that in this tournament, teams are shooting a lot at Swan's 5-hole, and it hasn't worked. And I'll be interested to see if these teams adjust to that and start trying to shoot up at his hips and arms, even the knees, as the ball goes to Kleisinger. Kleisinger to the net. Kleisinger, he tried to outweight Swan, and that ball rolled up over top of the net. Interference call, it'll be Shamrock ball. Siege to Kleisinger. Kleisinger over to Miller. Miller is going to roll into traffic, and he's going to lose it. Ball's picked up, and Ferrati is going to backpedal with it. Gets it to Kleisinger. Kleisinger rips it into the midsection of Swan. As we approach the 10-minute mark, halfway through this first period, still 1-0 Rocks as the Mavericks come back up high with the ball. Ball into the far corner. Sutherland backs into his defender. Sutherland fakes, backs a little bit off, and then shoots that into the stick of Swan, or into the stick of Pilsner. Both of these goalies, big men, and they've been solid here in the first 10.5 minutes. To the net, Johnston. Johnston had to pull out as he was met with heavy traffic. That shot is bounced into Swan, and we've got a call coming up, and it looks like the Mavericks will go to the box. The McDonald Cup, head out to watch the Prince Albert Predators, Lakeland Heat, Swift Current Wolverines, Calgary Wranglers, and Southern Alberta Chaos battle to determine who will be crowned this year's McDonald Cup champion. Catch all the action starting August 7th in Brooks, or watch it live on YouTube. And Vimy Lacrosse. At Vimy Lacrosse, excellence is the standard, dedicated to molding well-rounded student athletes. Vimy Lacrosse is the fusion of sport, academics, and personal growth. Explore the academy by visiting vimyedmonton.ca/lacrosse. Not quite sure what the delay. It looks like they're having immediate timeout here. Something that the RMLL has implemented. Every dead ball at the 10-minute mark of every period. So we'll take that time to recap what's gone on so far in the Larry Bishop. Standings right now sit with the Mountain View Mavericks, the team you see right now on your screen, up at top. The standings at 2-0. They are the only team left that's undefeated in the tournament. And the Calgary Shamrocks, 1-1. The Blizzard, 1-1. The Rebels, who just defeated the Blizzard, 1-1. And the Silvertips, the hosts, sitting at 0-2. With 2 games left tomorrow. No matter what happens in this game, tomorrow is going to have a lot to be determined. There's going to be a lot on the line. But if the Shamrocks were to win this game, then there'd be even more on the line tomorrow. So we'll wait and see, but big moment here in the first period as the Shamrocks go to the power play. Out of the corner is Dobbin. Up top, Anderson. Tried to hit Fletcher in the middle, and then the ball bounced over to Kleisinger. Stopped by Swan. And then Kleisinger got a stick on Swan's outlet pass. And the ball is batted around, and Fletcher's going to come away with it. And the Shamrocks are going to slow up. Kleisinger, Anderson, Miller. Miller, a guy with a strong outside shot. Miller into the middle. Fletcher had no room there. Mavericks doing a really good job of taking away the middle of the floor. And a good pick there. The back of the box of the Mavericks and an outlet pass up the floor as Banco stops up. Banco is going to cradle it along the near boards. He gets chased into the corner. The double comes and sort of blocked out by glass here as Banco eventually loses it. Didn't have much support, and the Shamrocks will come up the floor. Gorst will get it to Fletcher. Shamrocks with about 40 seconds remaining on the power play here. Likely the last possession. Siege. Dobbin. Ball works its way around up top. Miller, and that's stopped by Swan. Good job to challenge that on top of his crease. And that ball is sailed over the head of its intended target. 10 seconds remaining on the power play. Ball up high. Dobbin will work the top. And he's going to wait for the rest of his teammates to hit the floor. Dobbin, a little bit of a seal by Miller. Chased out there. Miller stopped. Rebound. Siege. And then Fletcher had a wide open net but couldn't pick the ball up. Fletcher over to Miller as the teams go back to even strength. Miller, and that ripped wide on the short side. And the Mavericks are gonna go back out into space here. 7:15 to go, first period. Shamrocks still nursing that 1-0 lead. Big kill there by the Mavericks. Aggressive penalty kill. Doing a good job of turning the ball over. The Shamrocks really didn't get a whole lot of great looks there. The ball goes back into the Shamrock bench, and it'll be a Calgary possession. Ball is gonna come up over center. Auger works his way over the rag line. He gets it up top. Ball swings over to the left side. Pick set there by Siege. Ball in the stick of Ferrati. Two-man game. Ferrati across the top. Stopped by Swan. Swan very solid here in this first period as he's been all tournament. But especially here as the Shamrocks have really had the majority of the scoring chances. Up across. Swings into the stick of Siege. Down low to Ferrati. Ferrati. Oh, he had Kleisinger wide open, but the ball got knocked down by a Maverick stick. Big defensive play there. And Barclay comes up floor. Barclay, another big man, hands off to Mahalik. Mahalik over on the right side now. Pick set. Looking to feed. And that shot comes in, and that's stopped by Pilsner. Here come the Shamrocks. The Mavericks do a good job of getting out of the gate. Here's McLean. McLean backs in his defender. Dobbin, that's wide. Well, they say it got a piece of, or no, it's a penalty coming up to, I assume, the Mavericks here. Ball goes into the corner, and it's going to be picked up. Pilsner is going to outlet. Here's Gorst. Gorst drags the ball around a defender, and with the shot clock winding down, he sends one in, and it'll be a penalty to the Mavericks here. Looks like Ethan Hildebrandt will go to the box. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. It's game number 6 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. The 2-0 Mavericks taking on the 1-1 Shamrocks in a game that has a lot of sway and swing on how this tournament is going to play out. Fletcher. Anderson. Dobbin once again up top. Ball over with the lefties. Up top. Good exploding box there by the Mavericks. Shot. Shoulder saved by Swan. Swan looking very good and solid once again here. Here come the Mavericks. Myris. Fancy. Gonna shoot that into the stick of Pilsner. Didn't have a lot of support again. They kind of left them there as the Shamrocks come back down. 1:15 to go in the power play. Here's Dobbin, Anderson, Miller. They skip it back to Miller. Miller tried to hit Fletcher, back door. Fletcher with the loose ball. Winds, fires, and that just got fought off by Swan. And here go the Mavericks up the floor. Bit of a wrap check there. And the Shamrocks come back with it. Hale Dobbin. With that turnover created. Siege down in the far corner. We'll set up the power play with about 25 seconds remaining on it. 3:40 to go in the first. Miller, Kleisinger. That ball got knocked down by a Maverick stick once again. Doing very good up at top of that box. Taking time and space away. Ball will turn over on the shot clock violation. But now the Mavericks are going to throw it away. And here the Shamrocks go back the other way. Whitmore. As the penalty expires, it will go back to 5-on-5. Anderson comes up high with it. Into the stick of Ferrati. Ferrati tried to get across the top, cut off there. And then a far side shot almost got by Swan from way out. Got enough of it though. Now he sends the ball up floor. 2:52 to go now, first period. Ball is going to sit over on the left side. Up high now, back over. Ball right side, Bauming to Sutherland. Sutherland, swim move, Sutherland, bounce that into Pilsner. Sutherland, very evasive, doesn't need a lot of time and space, and now another call is coming up to the Mavericks. They've been plagued by the penalty in this period. Doing a very good job killing them off, but eventually it's going to hurt. And now backdoor, that missed, and Mavericks are going to go to the box.
Colors out there, ref.
Vimy Ridge Academy at Vimy Lacrosse Excellence is the standard, led by some of the province's most decorated and experienced instructors, dedicated to molding well-rounded student athletes. Vimy Lacrosse is the fusion of sport academics and personal growth. Unleash your potential with Vimy Lacrosse. Explore the academy by visiting vimyedmonton.ca/lacrosse. So it will be another Shamrock power play. I believe it's their fourth of the period here, as the ball works its way around the perimeter. Ball down low. Now it skips up high. Dobbin. That shot harmlessly into Swan. Ball will go up to Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt goes over the rag line and back up to Fancy. Fancy has a pick set here. There's three Shamrocks here, obviously up a man, able to do so, guarding two Maverick players. The ball gets sent down low to Fancy again with the shot clock winding down. And he rolls it in the corner. Pretty smart play there. Make sure that he can't transition quickly back the other way. As the Shamrocks come back down with a minute to go in the power play. Dobbin up top. Ball into the stick of Miller. Fletcher in the middle, tried to quick stick that. Then backdoor to Kleisinger, and they were not able to connect there. And the Mavericks penalty kill looking really good right now. Here's Istis. And he backs into his defender. And he goes deep into the near corner where a couple of Shamrocks converge on him. Istis doing very well here to keep this ball away from two Shamrocks. Now the ball goes loose, and the Shamrocks will have about 20 seconds remaining on the power play. 28 seconds remaining in the period. Isaacs rolls away from traffic. Ferrati. Kleisinger. Miller winds, fires, stopped by Swan. Loose ball by Siege. Siege into the feet of Kleisinger. Great catch there. Miller winds, fires, and that hit the back of the net. And now the ball is grabbed, and that's going to do it for the period. So, after the first period of play, your score will be the Calgary Shamrocks 1, the Mountain View Mavericks nothing. The Shamrocks shut down on 4 power plays in a row. And the Mavericks coming out of that period relatively unscathed. Anybody's game here after 1. You're watching the Larry Bishop Memorial. Game number 6, the 2-0 Mavericks and the 1-1 Shamrocks. Once again, after the first period, the score, the Shamrocks 1, the Mavericks nothing. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. Welcome back inside Genesis Place, where it is the Calgary Shamrocks leading the Mountain View Mavericks by a score of 1-0. The Mavericks sitting atop the standings right now, 2-0. The Shamrocks right behind them at 1-1 with a couple of other teams, the Rebels and the Blizzard. As the ball gets knocked back and into the stick of Isaacs, who I believe is the younger brother of Riley Isaacs, the longtime Junior A Mountaineer. The ball goes into the stick and down to Fletcher. Fletcher rolls around a check to Auger, and that's a good stop there by the glove of Swan. One of his better ones of the game. Auger over to the half wall. Fletcher fakes a shot, comes across and whips it over to Dobbin. In the middle, Isaacs was wide open, but it hit him in the mask. And then out of the corner, Dobbin, crease dive, and they say he stepped inside. So it'll be Maverick ball. Here go the Mavericks. Muratori, who I talked about off the top, goes to the net. Muratori, and that's stopped by Pilsner. And I'm not kidding. I think Everett Muratori is a top 3 player in this tournament. He's that good. I love how that guy plays the game. As the ball goes back up, Kleisinger over to the far wall. And over on the left side now, Ferrati rolls around a check. Ferrati has Siege on the crease, and that, I think, got stopped by Swan. Yes, they signal reset, so Swan did get a piece of that. That was a really good save by the goaltender. Coming up big once again for this Mavericks team as the ball goes down near corner. It's brought up by Ferrati. Shot, and that got blocked. And it goes off. And, well, must not have hit anything because it's Maverick ball. Here's Hildebrandt, 2-on-1. Hildebrandt, one-handed pass, and that's a goal. As Mihalik off the bench, able to tuck it past Pilsner. And just like that, we're even up a couple of minutes into the second. So a couple of huge stops by Swan allow the Mavericks to go back the other way and even this one up. That could be a big moment in this game. And a massive turning point potentially for the Mavericks. And once again, the Mavericks playing to who they are. They went out in transition, took advantage of the Shamrocks on a bit of a slow change, and it made them pay for it. Ball is going to be picked up by Isaacs. Now into the corner for Fletcher. Quick transition up the floor. Dobbin. Dobbin rolls back. Gets it to Fletcher. Fletcher around a check. He lost it. And here go the Mavericks up the floor. That ball is in behind its intended target. Now over to the left side. Shot. That looked like Fancy off the left side. And the Pilsner does enough to stop that. And here go the guys in green up the floor. Ball over in the near corner. Now brought back up high and moved up top. Ball with Auger. Auger into the stick of Swan. And now a transition look again. Here's Muratori. Muratori mishandled it for a second. Now Muratori out in front. Stopped by Pilsner. And now here come the Shamrocks. Isaacs in transition. Isaacs stopped on the far side by Swan. Making it look easy right now. Like very calm and collected and compact in the net. Not overreacting to anything. As the ball is over in the Mavericks stick in the far corner. Ball into Banco. Banco looks, swings it into the stick of Fancy. Fancy tried to drop that off, and it's picked up, but then lost again by Johnston. Johnston pushed off the ball. He fights for it and picks it up. So the Shamrocks with a fresh 30 here. Johnston in around the net. Johnston to Fletcher. That's a guy who needs to get going for the Shamrocks is Fletcher. I know in game number 1, McDonough, the Silvertips netminder, really had his number. He's getting chances. And it's not very common he gets stonewalled like he has been. Now Barclay gonna come up floor. Barclay to the net. Barclay, and he went underneath his defender. Stopped by Pilsner. Not afraid to take the ball to the net is Barclay. And you see him do that every once in a while when he gets the chance. Fancy, roughed up there. He backs out. Behind the back pass, and that shot taken from the boards by Mihalik is stopped. And now interference, it'll be Maverick ball. Deadlocked here 1-1, about 5 minutes into the second. 2-0 Mavericks, 1-1 Shamrocks in this 4-game round robin. Game number 6 of the Larry Bishop. The nightcap here on a Saturday night. Ball is in behind the net now. And a little twister shot. And that's turned away by the stick of Pilsner. Offered in by Sutherland. Now Fletcher in behind the net. Tried to hit Kleisinger, and the ball's gonna bounce right to Muratori. Muratori in. Muratori, and he scores! Leaping up in the air and jumping around Pilsner. Another transition goal for the Mavericks, and it's the guy I was talking about earlier, Muratori, who gets it for the guys in white, and they get their first lead of the game, 2-1. And nice win there by O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer to the net. O'Dwyer, and that's stopped by Swan. And every time the Shamrocks look like they're getting a great chance, Swan just rejects it and sends it the other way. And you've seen a lot of this in the second period. The Mavericks running way more than they did in the first, as Hildebrandt is stopped. And you see that with teams that like to run. Their second periods are usually their most dangerous because you have that short change. Your gate is close, your O gate is closest to their opposing net. And it allows teams like the Mavericks a little bit of an advantage to get out and run and get numbers, as the ball is into the stick up top of Gorst. Gorst winds and fires, stopped by Swan. And then the shot on the rebound is sent wide. And then Fletcher collides with the Maverick. Ball goes loose, picked up by Gorst. 25 seconds on the shot clock. Fletcher, right in front of that Booster Juice logo on the half wall, comes up and swings. Dobbin. Ball is in the stick of Miller. Miller is looking for someone to dish to. He goes underneath his defender. Miller bounced it off the floor, up into the ceiling. It'll be a Mountain View ball. 13:27 to go, second period. Mavericks with their first lead of the game now, 2-1. Ball over on the left side. It's moved up high. Payne Show over to Benko. Benko to Fancy. Fancy misses the net on the far side. Couple of guys go down and interference, and the Mavericks will get a reset. Mavericks back out into the corner. Ball is bounced off the floor. Impossible to catch there for Mahalik, and then Payne Show runs the loose ball down. Payne Show in behind the net. Up high. Shot by Fancy. His hands got tied up. And here go the Shamrocks. Polton. And now a Shamrock is going to go to the box. Something that happened in behind the play. It looks like Isaacs is going to make his way. And the Mavericks are going to get their first power play of the game. I want to thank you for joining us here on CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. I want to thank the city of Fort Saskatchewan. Explore Fort Saskatchewan. Discover a place where family fun meets opportunity. Play where every moment is memorable. Visit, work, and play in Fort Saskatchewan. Here is the Mountain View power play, their first look. Mahalik will go up top. That ball is thrown in behind of its target, and then the shot came in. That is stopped by Pilsner. And the Shamrocks, key moment here for them is the Mountain View Mavericks take their first lead now on the power play with a chance to extend it. Siege rolls back and swings it into the stick of Anderson. Anderson bounces one at the feet of Swan, and he gobbles that up. About a minute to go in the Maverick power play. 11:40 to go in the second period. Hildebrand gets it to Sutherland. Here is the dangerous Sutherland off of the right shooter. Gets it down to Hildebrand. Hildebrand cross crease pass, and that looked like Fancy with the wrong-handed shot there off the, or it was Bauming with the wrong-handed shot off the opposite crease. The ball gets picked up and moved out over center. Pinned against the wall. Double from the Mavericks. But Johnston gets free somehow. Johnston, a little fake look at the net, gets it up to Auger. Auger, the shot from the rag line. Picked up by Fletcher, and that shot, and then another rebound came back out to Miller, and that stayed out. And Swan looked like, and now breakaway, and Harnack scores. Out of nowhere, Harnack was standing in behind everyone, and the Mavericks get number 3 on the board and number 3 in transition. And each and every time that they've scored, it's been preceded by a little bit of a scary moment around Swan's net, him either making a great save or maybe that one catching a little bit of pipe. So we'll see what the Shamrocks have in terms of an answer here as the Mavericks playing their style of lacrosse here in the second to great success. Winning the period at the moment 3-0. Ball goes down the boards. Out in front, a little bit of a trip up there. And here go the Mavericks. That's Hildebrand. Hildebrand to Harnack, who just scored. Harnack, and that time Pilsner denies him. Here come the Shamrocks back out. And they're gonna go up the floor to the net. And a little bit of a shovel pass, didn't get over. Out of the stick of Whitmore. Highcamp had the loose ball, but Whitmore is down in the corner and needs some attention. We did see him go off during the intermission. He was banged up. And he went down into the boards. We'll see and hope he's all right. Want to take this time to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. In what is a packed Genesis Place here tonight in Airdrie. Both of these teams with tremendous fan support. I would say of the teams here, these are the two teams with the best fan support, just in terms of like numbers and how loud they get. And these two teams definitely travel well. And it's a big one here tonight, obviously, with these two teams sitting near or at the top of the standings. As O'Dwyer doing what he does off the draw, and he gets it to McLean, and that's another great glove save. The left glove of Swan. He's very good at getting his glove extended out past his hip. One of the strengths of his game for sure. As the Shamrocks move it inside, Siege had to retreat out. Ball is moved to the shooter. That misses. Siege rebound, stopped by Swan. Another ball pops out in front of the net. Battle, that's going to be an easy interference call and Mavericks ball. And with that, it's going to be I wanted to say a TV timeout, but more of a media timeout. And so with 9:32 to go in the second period, we will pause. I want to take this time to thank Vimy Ridge Academy. At Vimy Lacrosse, excellence is the standard. led by some of the province's most decorated and experienced instructors dedicated to molding well-rounded student athletes. Vimy Lacrosse is the fusion of sport, academics, and personal growth. Unleash your potential with Vimy Lacrosse. And be sure to get your CROW LAX 50/50 tickets. Draw will take place on August 6th. A maximum take-home of up to $10,000. Scan the QR code on your screen now or visit our social media channels for more information at CROW LAX on Instagram and X. Feel free to jump in the chat. Tell us what you're thinking, what you're seeing, what you like about this tournament, who you got winning it all maybe. And just any general thoughts, you can hit me up on Instagram, m.joma, and on Twitter /X at mj_9. You can also hit the CROW LAX Twitter /X account up as well. And we thank you for joining us along this weekend ride as we look to see who comes out of Alberta and represents in Hamilton at the Founders Cup. We do know that one team will be attending already, the Winnipeg Blizzard. They'll be representing Manitoba. So that means that if they do get into the final like they did last season and they have in years past, that means that the team that gets in with them is into the Founders as the Alberta rep. That's something that everybody at home should be aware of, is that BTB goes off the ground harmlessly and the Mavericks are going to transition back out. Here is Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt is going to come and shoot that 5-hole. And that is a tough one to beat. Pilsner Mavericks take a 4-1 lead. So now the Shamrocks are definitely in need of going on some type of run here, because the Mavericks are a team that can really suffocate a game and shut you down in the third period. So we'll see what kind of answer the Shamrocks have in a defining moment of their 2024 tournament. Good loose ball there by the Mavs as they come down in transition. Ball was shoveled out in front, and it's going to be picked up by Polton. Polton faked a pass and stepped around to check. Here is Polton to Dobbin. Dobbin leans into a check. Dobbin and tried to muscle his way out in front. Stopped by Swan. Now we're going to have some type of delayed call here. Looks like the Mavericks will be sent to the box. It looks like Muratori. And it looks like a holding call. Oh, but it looks like the Shamrocks joining him as well, so we'll play 4-on-4. So Muratori goes to the box, but he takes a guy with him. It'll be 4-on-4 with 8:23 to go in the second period. Mavericks with a 3-goal lead. Ball right side. Anderson to Siege. Siege jumps into the middle and shoots that once again into the stick of Swan. Ball is mishandled a bit here, but it's picked up by Benko. Benko moves the ball over to the left side. Here is Fancy. Fancy up top. That was in behind Sutherland. Ball bounces and goes into the stick of Miller. Miller in transition. He's got a Shamrock right off the bench. And Auger had that elude him. Here comes Barclay. Deep into Shamrock territory. Ball is bounced back up high and now swung over to Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt, two-man game now. Operated off the right side. Hildebrandt over to Fancy. Fancy winds and fires. That goes wide. Back out off the loose ball to Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt tied up, but he gets through two Shamrocks and stopped by Pilsner. Ball loose in behind the net. Ball goes into the crease, and it'll be Shamrock ball. Shamrocks transitioning, 4-on-3 here. Stepping into one was Isaacs. That missed the net, though. And now the Mavericks with the loose ball. That ball is going to be battled for along the near boards, and it's picked up eventually by the Shamrocks. Ferrati has numbers here, 3-on-2. I don't know if he realizes it late. Ferrati twister, and that was an insane finish there by the lefty. As he brought his hands close back towards his body and piped the short side. It's got to be that type of shot to beat Swan. It's got to be almost perfect. Playing as well as any goaltender I've seen this year in the league. So 4-2 we sit with 6:30 to go in the second period. And that is a big goal that Shamrocks desperately needed. Breaking up a 4-goal run and heavy damage done in transition by the Mavericks. Here is O'Dwyer. He is very, very good at his craft, which is taking face-offs. Fletcher to Gorst. Gorst has had a strong game here, had the opening goal. Gorst up across the top, shoots that, stopped by Swan, goes into the corner. Fletcher, heavy in there, and it's picked up by the Mavericks. 5:55 now. Off the bench, inside, and good stop there by Pilsner. And now the ball is missed, and Polton has got a chance to get the loose ball, and he grabs it. But unaware of back pressure and just seeing it at the last second, able to evade a stick check there. Barclay, heavy pressure up high. Ball to a cutter, stopped by Swan. As here come the Mavericks. Istis tried to hit a man off the bench. And here comes Isaacs. Isaacs with it, Isaacs. Low shot, stopped by the foot of Swan, and that was a better shot by the Shamrocks. That actually hit foot instead of stick. Something that they need to do a little bit better with as that ball goes back over center. Hildebrandt off the wrong side of the floor. Hildebrandt beats Pilsner maybe a little deep in his net there. It's 5-2. One there that definitely Josh would want to have back. So the Mavericks extend their lead back out to 3 as we approach the latter stages of the second period. Gorst with another win. Or sorry, O'Dwyer with another win, but the ball goes into the bench and that turns over. Mavericks back into the offensive zone. Up high to the net, Fancy. Pulls out around behind the net, dishes back out. Long outside shot, handled by Pilsner. Next goal in this one, massive. That 2 to 4 goal swing, always one of the bigger ones in lacrosse. As the ball goes loose here by the Mavericks bench. And Gorst is gonna pick it up. Gorst is gonna carry it into the Mavericks zone. Gorst into the 24, hits Fletcher off the bench. Fletcher misses the net. Rebound, and that's tucked in. Very good patience there by McLean as he tiptoed the crease, stayed out. And that's a big goal, as I just mentioned, one the Shamrocks needed to have. This time, the Mavericks are going to win it. Istis gets the ball across center. As the Mavericks come out and get their offense set up. Ball is moved into the far left corner. It's brought up high. Fancy winds, fires, misses the net, bounces off the glass. Picked up by Paincho. He flips it over to Sutherland. Sutherland stopped by Pilsner. And that ball is going to be grabbed by Fancy. Extended possession here for the Mavericks as they look to wear down these 5 Shamrock players that are stuck out on the floor. Hildebrandt shoots that. This time Pilsner able to stop that. And there's something about Hildebrandt's release that goalies just don't pick up. You see him score from very unconventional areas of the floor. You just saw him score from the wrong side of the floor. He scores from well out a lot. And there's just something about his release that goaltenders do not pick up. A huge asset for the Mavericks. As the ball goes down the left side, back outside the 24. Shot. That got sort of, did almost get behind Swan, but the ball stayed out. And Swan did a good job of not stepping back. He kind of stayed out near the top of his crease, so he didn't risk kicking that back in. It almost made its way back in, but they were able to avoid that. As Hildebrandt swings it into the stick of Bauming. Bauming, bounce shot. Looked like it caught a piece of the helmet of Pilsner. As Highcamp travels back up over center. Highcamp stops up. Now he turns to the net. Highcamp, and he missed it. Fletcher turns out. Fletcher bothered there by a couple of heavy cross checks. Siege loses it. And now the Mavericks are going to go. Here is Banco racing down the floor. Banco, and he scores. Once again, the Mavericks transition game biting the Shamrocks large. It's been a few different guys, not even the same group. They've got contributions from a lot of guys in that area. And it's been the difference in this game. So the Mavericks extend back up by 3. Ball gets to McLean. Down, cross crease pass, and somehow that ball wasn't brought in. They had the gaping cage. Would have been impossible for Swan to get across in time as the ball gets picked up. No call. At the very least, that probably should have been interference, but it was not. According to the officials, and the Shamrocks will get another look at the net here. Shamrocks. Dobbin rolls back out. Dobbin swings it. Shot, and that goes in, but they had blown it dead, so it'll be Maverick ball. Ball over on the right side as we go, or on the left side as we go underneath 1 minute. Fancy to Bauming. Bauming into the corner. Sutherland surveys the middle. Now he's going to shoot, and that's stopped by Pilsner. Sutherland and gets the loose ball. Bauming is going to work the 2-man game with Sutherland. Sutherland bouncing around, taking some hard checks, and he's going to draw a call. They blow that dead. They blow that dead. I don't know why. It should not. The Mavericks had possession of the ball. The penalty was coming up to the Shamrocks. I cannot explain. If you're confused, I'm confused as well. Don't know why that was blown dead, but. Oh, are they taking a Maverick as well? Apparently they're taking a Maverick and putting them in the box as well. I guess that's why it was blown dead. So, looks like we're going to go 4-on-4 here. And because the second penalty, I assume, is going to the Mavericks, it'll be Shamrock ball. Mavericks, I don't blame them, trying to understand what exactly is the lay of the land here. So it will be Shamrock ball because anybody that's confused about the rule, well, I guess now they're going to take a timeout on the floor, but yeah, so it should be, yeah, it will be Shamrock ball here. Anybody that's wondering about the rule at home, if you take the second penalty, the other team gets the ball. So whoever took the most recent penalty concedes possession is essentially what ends up happening. And in that case, the Mavericks took the second penalty, so it'll be Shamrock ball. And now you'll see a 6-on-5 set by the Shamrocks. These can always sort of flip momentum. It's the last possession of the period. If you get one here, it can really change the feel of the game and give your team a lot of energy moving into the next period. So big moment coming up here in this one. And now we have another stoppage. Oh, it's 4-on-4. Or it's 5-on-4. Because they pulled their goalie out. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah. The ref was confused. We're good to go now, though. As Dobbin swings it over. Ball goes loose. Picked up, and as the buzzer expires, a Shamrock goes to the floor. They don't really get a look at the net, and that'll do it for the second period of play. With the score, the Mountain View Mavericks 6, the Calgary Shamrocks 3. We want to thank you for joining us on the channel. CROW LAX TV, all you got to do is hit subscribe and be notified every time a game goes live. After the second period of play, it is the Mountain View Mavericks 6, the Calgary Shamrocks 3. We'll be right back with the third period in just under 10 minutes. And welcome back inside Genesis Place for third period action. It's the Calgary Shamrocks and Mountain View Mavericks. The Mountain View Mavericks leading by a score of 6-3, and the second period was a tale of transition. The Mavericks dominating in that facet of the game, and it led to 4 or 5 goals going their way. And we'll see what the Shamrocks can answer back with here in the third. They're going to need their specialty teams, which is usually a very strong part of their game, to step up, and they're going to need Pilsner to match the game of Swan, who's been excellent in this game, and he just makes another great save there. The ball goes over on the left side to Seth Miller. Miller into the stick of McLean, hits a cutter, and that was Dobbin, knocked out of the middle of the floor. Dobbin, he's going to come around the top, and he's going to look like he was going to shoot, but he flipped it over to Miller to no avail. Ball goes loose, and then Hildebrandt having trouble with it. They're going to call 8 seconds. So it'll be Shamrock ball. We continue 4-on-4 here. Ball is moved over to the right side. Auger into the stick of Miller. Miller is going to wind and fire, and that ball didn't get to the net. Heavy traffic there to try and get that ball through, and then aggressive defense in the corner by Hildebrandt. He's going to grab the ball and run up the floor. Hildebrandt in front. Benko, that was a great catch, as that ball got on really fast, and Pilsner with an answer for that opportunity. On a really nice play there from Hildebrandt to Benko. And that was a massive moving pick, and that's going to result in Fletcher going to the box. So Fletcher will go for cross-checking, and the Mavericks will get a power play opportunity here early in the third. Once again, let us know where you're watching from in the chat, who you're pulling for, and if you got any insight or thoughts on what you're seeing so far this weekend, let us know. The ball goes in behind the net. That ball gets sent into the legs of Pilsner, and the Shamrocks come back up the floor. I'll say it again, the biggest, I would say, aside from the Mavericks transition game and how potent it's been offensively, the biggest story of this game has been their penalty kill, shutting down the Shamrocks, who had 4 power plays in the first period and really didn't get a whole lot of looks on them. And of course, Swan playing extremely well helps out a lot. Swan will swallow that one and get the ball up the floor. Benko, who's had a few opportunities and a goal in this one, he runs off the floor and hustles off. Mavericks power play with about a minute to go here in the man advantage.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winning 50-50 ticket is a blue ticket. Last 4
Ball, Mihalik shoots that wide, and almost got a reset there, but it's picked up by Gorst. Gorst, the captain, is going to bring it up floor here. Gorst rolls out, gets it up to Kleisinger, and that's a guy who the Shamrocks really need to step up. Capable of a lot is Kleisinger. Been a bit quiet here tonight. That shot gets stopped by Swan. And here come the Mavs. 10 seconds remaining on the power play. Might elect to hold it here and not allow a potential fast break the other way on a missed shot. Sutherland fakes a shot. Hildebrandt does take one. Gets blocked by a stick. Good soak there by the Shamrock defense. That ball sails wide of the net, and it's going to be picked up by the Shamrocks. 15:58 to go, third period. Mavericks up 3. as they look to go to 3-0. Ball over on the left side, Dobbin. Dobbin feeds it inside. That got away from Miller. Miller is going to try and grab it off the floor, but it's picked up by the Mavericks. And Hildebrand, using what looks like a long stick, got it up the floor nicely. And here come the Mavericks offense onto the floor. Sutherland flips it. That ball is in behind its intended target. And it's picked up by the guys in white. They'll have to sail it into the mesh in behind the net as the shot clock wound down. You got to think if the Shamrocks want to work their way back into this one realistically, the run has to start pretty soon here. With 15 minutes to go, ball goes off the glass, and it's picked up by the Mavericks. Ball gets sent down the floor, and it's repossessed by Fletcher and the Shamrocks. People talk all the time about how it's lacrosse and goals can happen really fast. It's really not the case. I mean, a 3-goal lead in the third period is a sizable one, and the Shamrocks are going to have to give everything they have here to climb back into this one. As that ball goes off a Swan, in behind the net, off the mesh, it'll be Shamrock ball, and another penalty coming up to the Mavericks. Looks like a cross check. So the Shamrocks with another opportunity with a man advantage, and you got to think they got to make this one click. City of Fort Saskatchewan. Explore Fort Saskatchewan. Discover a place for family fun meets opportunity. Visit their downtown parks in River Valley. Work in a thriving community. Visit, work, and play in Fort Saskatchewan. Shamrocks around the perimeter here. Dobbin, Fletcher into the middle. Miller, and he scores. Finally, they send somebody into the middle, off that shooter position, and Miller does a good job of ripping that one into the top corner. And I was talking about this in the intermission, actually. The Mavericks do a really good job of exploding on their man short. So what I mean by that is the guy up on the top, they'll explode from his blind side. So when that pass comes from the one side of the floor, they really come up and challenge that guy and take his time and space away. And so what the Shamrocks have to do to counter that is to send a guy into the middle, their guy off the top or the shooter, and make them have to defend from the inside out. And now a ball is going to turn over in the Mavericks' favor here off the draw. That was a very smart look on the power play there by the Shamrocks, and they were rewarded for it. Muratori is grabbed there, no call. Should have been one. That's got to be one. Muratori comes out of the corner. Muratori, and he scores. Everett Muratori fights through heavy traffic and scores a big one for the men in white. Said, I don't care if you're not going to call it. I'll go and shove it in the net. Big one for the Mavericks. And now Gorst gets cross-checked. And the Mavericks are going to go to the box. Istis will make his way in. So the Shamrocks power play will return to the floor. Down by 3. So we'll see what kind of answer is in store here with the Shamrock power play coming right back out on the floor after that individual effort by Muratori. Ball to Fletcher. Ball over to Dobbin on the swing. Back to Fletcher. Into the middle again. Miller scores! Once again, they send Seth Miller inside. And instead of the far side, he goes back to the short side to pump home one, 7-5. So the Shamrock power play maybe figuring things out. I talked about it a couple of minutes ago. Adjusting to that exploding box, the Mavericks employ. 13:28 to go here, the lead back down to 2. We could be in store for yet another tight finish here, something that's been pretty common in this tournament so far. Gorst off the draw, or I keep calling him Gorst, sorry, it's O'Dwyer. I don't know why I keep thinking those two guys are the same guy. As the Mavericks come back 2-on-1, and that shot goes wide. O'Dwyer, one of the, if not the best face-off men. I know who it is. I don't know why I keep saying Gorst. As now it looks like it'll be Shamrock ball off the possession call. And they blow it back in real quick. Shamrock ball, left side. McLean into the middle. Dobbin lost it. Kleisinger picks up the loose ball. Kleisinger tried to muscle his way out in front, got stopped by Barclay. Dobbin tried to set a little bit of a back pick there. Shot, Ferrati into the stick of Swan. And then that ball went off of McLean's stick and back towards the net and almost went in. Hit the post and rolled across the line. And so the Mavericks have a disaster there. That would have really given the Shamrocks some momentum, but the Mavericks still hold that 2-goal lead. Into the middle. Hollick ripped it off the crossbar. Good cut there off the ball by the Mavericks. And the Shamrocks get a break back the other way. 12 minutes to go. And the Mavericks up 2 here in a big one from Genesis Place tonight in Airdrie. Ball goes loose into the corner. Maverick knocked down, no interference call. Gorst, nice lead pass, but went up too high. Ball goes into the corner. And the Mavericks are gonna grab the loose ball, but the ball momentarily went loose. The Mavericks now are gonna collect it. Game number 6 of the Larry Bishop. Mountain View leading the Calgary Shamrocks 7-5 here. Mountain View 2-0. The Shamrocks 1-1. 2 top teams of the 5 will play on Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock for the right to go to the Founders Cup. Unless, of course, Manitoba is in, and then that team joining them will be in to the National Championship. McLean! And that caught a piece of the bar, I think. That looked like it went in, but it did not. Looked like there was some room up over top. Just did not make its way past Swan. Polton hands it back off to Auger. Cutter, good stick check there on the trail by Barclay, whose man had beat him, but he knocked his stick away as the ball was arriving. Now the Mavericks having some trouble with this. It'll be 8 seconds. And it'll be Calgary ball. Ferrati up high. Ferrati. He's gonna drag it by a defender. Ferrati. And again, shoots it at the stick of Swan. That 5-hole shot has plagued the Shamrocks in this game. Got to get it down at the knees and the feet of the goaltender as the ball gets over to Mahalik. Sutherland to Payne-Show. Payne-Show, good soak there by a couple of Shamrock sticks. Shot, that goes wide. It'll be Shamrock ball. Maverick bench, I think, thought that caught a piece of the goaltender, but we'll have our media timeout with 9:44 to go in the third period. Mavericks up by a pair. For joining us here on the channel. All you gotta do is hit subscribe to be notified every time a game goes live. Hit us up with your thoughts and anything lacrosse related. Doesn't even have to be Junior B, Alberta related. You want to talk Junior A, Senior lacrosse, game for that as well. But of course, we're at the Larry Bishop, so I especially encourage any talk, any thoughts about what you're seeing out on the floor this weekend, who you're pulling for, who you want to see win, who you think is going to win, all of that. Let us know. You can hit me up, MJ_9 on Twitter and m.joma on Instagram. So we're back underway here. Kleisinger brings it up, almost lost it. Kleisinger to the net. Kleisinger! Yeah, that's a great stop by Swan, although they called him for stepping in the crease. Swan made sure it didn't matter. Expect a large push here from the Shamrocks, getting their championship pedigree tested here. Of course, winning the Founders in 2019 as they avoid disaster there. But the Mavericks almost with a crease dive, but the ball went awry, and they called him for stepping in. Gorst back over. Into the stick of Dobbin. Goes underneath his defender, and they're going to say crease violation. That ball is way over the head of the very tall Barclay. Hard to do. Barclay chases the ball in behind the net, does a good job of tying the ball up. Barclay doing great work. He had the ball momentarily, and then the ball goes loose. The Shamrocks are going to race away. Good hustle shift there by Barclay. Kills some more time for the Mavericks. Every second that goes off the clock is to their advantage right now. Ball over with Dobbin. Strong side left. Dobbin had that ball get knocked down. Picked up. Harnack is going to pick it up and go. He's already got one in this game. Harnack to the net, and he misses it. Oh, with the bounce shot. Went well wide. And here come the Shamrocks back the other way. Auger comes back up. Auger rips it. Stopped by Swan. He challenges out again. Long floor pass up to over center. Myris gets pressed up high by Seaborn. Seaborn chasing a Maverick there. Good defense there. That shot goes wide. And it'll be Shamrock ball as the 30-second clock goes off. 7.5 to go. 2-0 game here. Mountain View with the lead. Gorst swims. Gorst, another little swim. Now he swings it over. Dobbin, stopped by Swan. Ball is picked back up by the Rocks over on the far side. Here's Anderson. Anderson winds and fires, and that goes wide. Rebound out to Ferrati. Ferrati up across the top, and he rips it far side. And that was a bullet by the lefty there to make it a 7-6 game. So the Shamrocks fighting back here after they went down 7-4. They've answered with a couple, and it's going to go right down to the wire here. What else could you expect from the Larry Bishop in 2024? Almost every game has been like this. McLean, and he just missed the net on a wide open transition look. And now here go the Mavericks. Muratori, great catch. Muratori to the net, and he's stopped by Pilsner. That was a ball that was a little high and a little behind him, and in full speed, he grabbed it and went to the net. That was a lot of athleticism shown there by Muratori. Pilsner with the save. And now a turnover, and here goes Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt, that's Ethan. misses the net. He got his stick kind of knocked away as he was trying to shoot. And here come the Shamrocks back the other way. Couldn't ask for more in what's been a great nightcap here. Shamrocks over to McLean. McLean up across the top. McLean, that shot got soaked in the ball. Dribbles off a body into the crease of Swan. That ball goes up over Barclay's head again, and he's going to have to run it down. Ball goes deep into the corner. Barclay tracks it down, and he gets it up high. Shot comes in well out. Mahalik gets his own rebound, and that ripped bar. Now an interference call. It'll be Maverick ball. 5:30 to go here into the third period. Mavericks with the back-to-back possessions here. Mahalik hits a roller. Great catch by Fancy, and then he tried a little bit of a around the world. It hit Pilsner. So Mavericks will retain possession. Don't know how Fancy caught that. He was kind of half turned around, and he one-handed the ball. Cross crease pass, rolls out in front, paint show. And Pilsner with maybe his most important save, if not his best save of the game. That was a big-time stop by Pilsner on the rollout by Paint Show. Here come the Shamrocks as we dip underneath, 5 minutes to go. Fletcher, right side. Fletcher up across the top. He shot that, misses the net. And now here goes the Mavericks in transition. Hildebrandt to the net, and he hit the bottom of the bar. Sort of at the base of the post. It almost feels like the Mavericks one more might be enough here. Gorst rolls back over to Dobbin. Dobbin hits a roller siege. Great save by Swan as he lunged over and made a spectacular save. I can't say enough about Alex Swan in this tournament, playing his best lacrosse of the season. And I also mentioned off the top of the tournament, it's a guy that had like the 8th or 9th most points on the Mavericks. He had a ton of assists. He had like 17 points this year. 17 apples for the goaltender out of Innisfail Arena as the Mavericks get a quick changeover here. 3.5 to go. Shamrocks trying to chase this one down. Mavericks in possession. Up high. Ball's moved. Shot. Dolinsky had it up high. And now the Shamrocks with another possession. Gorst. Hands it off to Auger. 3 minutes to go now from Genesis Place here in Airdrie. 2-0 Mavericks, 1-1 Shamrocks. Auger. Dobbin. Over to Ferrati, who just had that last marker for the Shamrocks. And a long shot taken by Auger. Picked up by Muratori, and Muratori weaves through the maze. Muratori on a 2-on-1. Muratori, and he scores! Everett Muratori with the hat trick. And that is gonna be tough to answer for the Shamrocks. Wow. Did a great job to weave through traffic, went all the way full floor to the net and snuck it by Pilsner, who got a big piece of it. Not enough though. And the Mavericks take an 8-6 lead. So now Gorst, or my goodness, O'Dwyer is gonna lose this one and track that down. Fletcher is gonna let this one bounce into the bench. And it's going to be Shamrock ball. Smart play there by Fletcher. They need every possession they can get. Isaacs. That ball bounces off the glass. The ball is picked up and then thrown away right into the stick of Isaacs. Isaacs going to hit right on the crease. Miller, and he scores! Seth Miller with a hat trick of his own right after Muratori buries, and it's 8-7. This is a great one here tonight from Airdrie. You can't say enough. Both of these teams trading blows back and forth. Plenty of haymakers being thrown, not just jabs. And this is what I would equate to a great boxing match. Two teams that really just want it as much as you can, I would say. So let's see if O'Dwyer can create a back-to-back possession here for the Shamrocks. The ball goes loose, and it's picked up by Dobbin on the far boards. Dobbin has McLean out in front, but then he got hit as he caught it. And that knocked that chance away, but the Mavericks are gonna throw it down the floor to nobody, and the Shamrocks are gonna pick it back up. 1:37 to go now, but now the Shamrocks throw it back. And the Mavericks are gonna, this time, clear out. Here's Hildebrandt. Gets it to Muratori, who threw it into a stick of a Shamrock, but it bounced back over to the Mavericks. Delinsky. Delinsky works his way around a check and floats one into Pilsner with the shot clock winding down. The Shamrocks will take their timeout with 1:06 to go, not knowing if they'll get a second possession. So they'll take it now, down a goal, and the Shamrocks will draw something up. I don't know if they'll pull Pilsner here. I think they probably will. Get that sixth guy on the floor. And we'll see what they come up with here. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight in Airdrie. It's Game 6 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. We got the 2-0 Mavericks and the 1-1 Shamrocks as we start to get closer and closer to Monday's final in a game that will have a heavy impact on the standings. You also have the Rebels and the Blizzard at 1-1, right behind these two, tied with the Shamrocks. And you've got the Silvertips at 0-2, who are not mathematically eliminated yet either. Also want to thank the Silvertips for being great hosts here this weekend. Tournament's been very well run. Got a lot of amenities in and around the arena, inside the arena. And they've made everybody stay here, I think, feel very welcome, as the Shamrocks are going to get set here to go 6-on-5. Miller into the middle. Fletcher, and he's stopped by Swan. And they're going to say Fletcher reached into the crease, so it'll be Maverick ball. Good look there by the Shamrocks, and Swan with a stop once again. Mavericks out across center. Delinsky tried to bounce that towards the net, missed it. And Gorst with a big loose ball here. Shamrocks are going to get one more look here. Here's Kleisinger, 6-on-5. Kleisinger, seal set there. Shot, misses the net, rebound. Gorst, and that ball does not go in. Spot off by Swan. Now a couple of players get tangled up in a long floor pass to Hildebrandt, and he hit the crossbar. Hildebrandt almost iced it, but hit the crossbar, and then he gets nailed from behind. That's going to be a penalty. And with 15 seconds to go, the Shamrocks are going to have to try and run this ball down. Now Delinsky is going to hold it, and there's a couple of hits behind the play. Shamrocks are going to take a couple of penalties here. And the Mavericks, with 2 seconds left and possession, are going to have an opportunity here to go to 3-0. The Mountain View Mavericks are going to come in and almost certainly go up to 3-0. The one team that did not win their division is going to be poised here to go up and get a stranglehold on one of those positions for Monday's gold medal final. It would take some type of three-way tie to knock them out at this point, barring a miracle if they do hold on here. There's really not enough time to make a strip and then send the ball at the net. So I would imagine if I'm Hildebrand, I'm just chucking this ball down the floor. And don't forget, the Shamrocks just had a chance with their best scorer, their leading scorer, Zane Fletcher, right in front of the net, and it was stopped by Swan. And that is going to do it. The Mountain View Mavericks will go to 3-0. The Calgary Shamrocks will drop to 1-2. So after day 2, the standings will sit. The Mountain View Mavericks up at the top at 3-0. The Fort Saskatchewan Rebels at 1-1. The Manitoba Blizzard 1-1. The Calgary Shamrocks 1-2. And the Rocky View Silvertips at 0-2. Once again, the final score from Genesis Place in Airdrie. The Mountain View Mavericks come in and take down the Calgary Shamrocks by a score of 8-7. We'll stay with you here for the handshakes and let you see who gets awarded player of the game. I know Swan has already gotten one, but he was outstanding once again in this game. He really made a difference for the Mavericks. And on the Shamrock side, you know, Miller stepped up and scored some huge goals for them in the third. You know, Gorst had a strong game in transition. O'Dwyer really good on the draws. So we'll see where those get handed out. And obviously Muratori is in the conversation for the Mavericks as well. Talked about him a few times tonight, and it goes without saying he came up really big for his team. And the Mavericks, the one thing they know how to do is win close games. The final scores in their games to this point in the tournament, 9-7, 9-8, and 8-7. Meanwhile, the Shamrocks will take on the Rebels tomorrow with a chance to go to 2-2 and then just hope that they can pull their way into a three-way tie at 2-2 somehow with a couple of other teams and hope they get in on goals for and against. And now get set for your players of the game.
Our Jackson Porter player of the game, sponsored by August Electronics for Shamrocks lacrosse, is Aiden Horst.
That's a good selection there for the Shamrocks. He was one of the players that I mentioned could potentially get it. And now if you're going to go back the Maverick way, it's got to be either Muratori or Swan. We'll see what they end up going with.
Our Jackson Porter player of the game for the Mavericks is number 71.
Yeah, there you go. Everett Muratori is your player of the game for the Mountain View Mavericks. So Gorst and Muratori, very deserving of those honors here tonight. And we have some pictures here, and that will be the final from Airdrie. The Mountain View Mavericks take down the Calgary Shamrocks by a score of 8-7. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., the Blizzard and the Silvertips. Until then, have a good night, and we'll see you in about, 12 hours.